Yo, what's going on, folks? It's just gonna be me, running my mouth about books for, I don't know, for a few minutes. So far, holla at your boy. So far, the two stories that I've put out within this realm that I'm crafting as I go along, they've made a couple dollars. And by a couple dollars, I mean literally $2. That's really cool. Just because, hey, I created something, I put it out. I haven't done anything as far as promoting it or anything like that, and people are finding it, they're reading it, and that's kind of that. And from the looks of the number of reads, I'm in Kindle Unlimited right now for all the books just because it's easier, but the ratio as far as pages read to the number of borrows, it looks like they're finishing the stories. Like it's not like somebody's borrowing it, reading the first 5-10 pages and going, nope, I'm out of here. It looks like they're finishing the stories, which is really cool. I guess what I'm trying to work on right now, as far as I continue to write, 1,000, 2,000, in some cases 3,000 words a day on these stories, I'm trying to dial in like two things that'll just make writing them so much easier. Number one is I'm still trying to figure out the exact ratio of, I don't know if ratio is the right word, but the exact formula, because these are to market. They're not literary, pieces. They're very specific, not necessarily trope heavy, but they're, hit similar tropes. And I'm just trying to dial in exactly what ratio of, violence and, I don't know, world building and, I don't know, romantic subplots, what all those are and how they all look together, and how much of each to put in each story. That way it's like, it flows and works well together. And then once I figure all those out, these are some early copies, but I've been trying to create, like, basically, you can't read it because it's so damn blurry or whatever, but almost like a universal outline. So I can look at something and go, okay, I'm on chapter 8. What happens in chapter 8? I don't even know. What does it say on here? Chapter 8 formerly was like first confrontation, as far as, the hero interacting with the villain, right? Well, that was the old version. I've since, I don't know if I talked about this in the last video, but I've made a few modifications as far as what the actual length I'm trying to go for here. Is at first I had like a 20 chapter outline, and that's what I did for the first story. And, it kind of, it dragged on. I'll be honest, it dragged on for even though it wasn't very long. And then the next one was like the 27 chapter outline, a 3-act, 9 chapters per act, XYZ. Couldn't like shorten that to shit because I just got tired of tired of trying to jam the story full of stuff. But I think I kind of found my sweet spot right now as far as length goes, because again, these are only like 15,000 word books or short stories, novellas, like right on that cusp between the two, between a short story and novella. I think just a simple 15 chapter kind of, what would you call it? Yeah, a 15 chapter generic universal outline, 5 chapters for each act. And it might even be like 3 to 4 chapters for each act, and then have 2 second acts, a second act part A and a second act part B. And have them all have their own kind of rising action, climax, and falling action. And then, so let's see if I can do this right with the reflection of the screen. So like, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, you know what I mean? And it kind of bounces like that as far as the more shit being piled on a protagonist, and more, more trouble they get in, and more action and more sex and everything like that. So that's what I'm trying to figure out, exactly what that looks like. And I think it's just going to come with repetition and just continuing to crack out words and deciding and then crossing things out and going, no, this is too much riffraff, or yeah, that's actually really like that is perfect for where they'd be at, or whatever. So that's that. Another thing I was thinking about doing, and since it's basically a serial, it's not a series, you don't read it in a specific order, but all the books take place in the same location, and there might be some recurring characters throughout. I was like looking at like, obviously not today and not tomorrow and not this year, but it'd be really cool to have like a wiki set up, and like my own self-hosted wiki of this serial of the world, and like talk about the different locations and where they appear in the different books. And then, if somebody does a search for one or the series or something like that, they go in there and they get all this other like information about it, and they can buy the other books or rent them or whatever the case is, or steal them if they feel so inclined. I don't care. They can get that going on. And then they're just kind of more entrenched within the ecosystem, which, that's a WWW. Win-win-win for everybody. But, yeah, I think at this point I'm still kind of sticking to the original plan of just, I put out the first book. Just it sat out there for like a week and a half before anybody discovered it. They yoinked it, they read it, whatever, got a couple more trickles of people. And then, the second one, the day it was live, it got, somebody borrowed it, read it from start to finish. Boom, bam, bing. I've set the first book for a 5-day free promo. I don't know exactly what that did as far as, I don't think there was really no noticeable uptick, because there's only 2 books. People might have just gotten it because it was free, and then they might read it, 6 months from now or something like that. But I think that's kind of just going to be my marketing strategy, which is so pathetic. But literally, once I finish book 3, I'll set the book 2 to free for 5 days, and we'll see, as it moves on and upward. I don't even know how many days it's been since I went live. Let me see if I can find that. In the less than a week since the second book has gone live, it has made as much as the first book has made, with, a quarter of the time being live, and out and available. So, ideally, we just keep that trend going. Every time a new book is published, it sells faster than the previous one. And I think if that just keeps doing that, I'll continue to stay on it and getting after it. But also, like I said at the beginning, it's like, okay, it's made like a couple dollars. That's expected. I'm from the streets of the internet. I was making money selling ebooks before Kindle Unlimited was a thing. And making money online for over 10 years now. So this is I know it's slow. I know that it's very rare for something to be put on the internet with no promotion, and something magic happens. So we're just kind of playing the lazy game here until I don't even know what the exact number of titles I want out before I start either writing ads or something like that, or really heavily promoting and that whole thing. I'll figure that out later. What else happened? Oh, I had to scrap one. Well, I didn't have to. I decided to scrap one story. I was about 6,000 words into it. You know, a little bit more than a third of the way through. And I realized, like, I didn't enjoy writing it. So I said, you know what? We're not gonna 80. So we're just gonna put it on the back burner. We're just gonna put it in the back, let it kind of marinate for a bit. I'm gonna start something else. I'm gonna work on something completely different. Someday I might come back to it. Who knows? It was like I was trying to incorporate like a dirty cop angle, and I realized that it's just like not something that I wanted to write about. You know, it's like the logistics of like how does the protagonist nail this dirty cop? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I can't think of it. So I'm not like how do you, what was the whole premise? Like the cop was, you know, confiscating or like arresting criminals and confiscating their shit and then turning around and selling the shit back to other, you know, their rivals or something like that. And I'm like, well, I don't want to sit here and try to figure out the logistics of evidence handling in police precincts. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to do all the research on that. So we're just going to go back to, you know, dealing with more, I don't even know the right word, effervescent crimes. That's what we're getting after. So that's kind of that. Yeah, it's cool. Like, I'm not even trying to like keep everything's under a pen name right now, and it's not even that I'm trying to keep them hidden. Like, I think my face is on the like author profile on Amazon, and the pen name is like incredibly similar to my first and last name. I think the only reason I don't want to, you know, talk about the pen name is, well, I'm not like, I think I don't want to muddy the waters, you know, especially being like just starting whatnot. And granted, there is no waters to muddy because I have no traction. But I think if I was like, hey, here's this to my, you know, put a banner on like my personal website, buy this book, and then people, you know, they click on the page and they don't buy it, or they click it, buy it, and then they get promoted to the next one and they don't buy that one because they're actually not interested in it. They're just like, oh, I want to help him out. It's got to look kind of bad. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's not supposed to be a secret, but right now it's going to be. And also, I think the other part was like, you know, if I ever wanted to write like nonfiction, I know some people have their fiction and nonfiction kind of all intertwined. It's kind of, I don't know, it just looks weird to me. Like, imagine if Stephen King, and he might, I don't know, but this is just an example off the top of my head. These are extemporaneously done videos. What if he just like dropped a romance book out of the blue, and you know, you didn't know, as far as you liking Stephen King, and you go pick it up and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, how come no one's dying? How come it's happily ever after or whatever? You know what I mean? So, yeah, and I know that's kind of a really bizarre example, weird example, especially as far as nonfiction goes, because he did write like On Writing or something like that. But, no, I don't know. I just, as far as the catalog goes, I'd really like if anything that I write nonfiction wise, you know, would have my name on it. And then all the fiction is just kind of over here, separated, not a secret, but just not combined. You know, say I do this for 20 years and I write a book about writing. Like, I'd rather have that not be mixed in with the books that I wrote for entertainment. So that's that. What has this been? 15 minutes almost. I'm out of here.